More portal targets have emerged for the Red Raiders, this time in two players that got first-team all-conference honors from their respective conferences. Today's video, we'll break down their skill sets and why Texas Tech likes them so much, as well as two other players that have been mentioned and linked to the Red Raiders, including two on the defensive line. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And if you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech football all year long right here on the most subscribed to and the largest independently owned Texas Tech YouTube channel and the Back to 12 podcast channel. All right, I don't want to call it housekeeping, but just reminders almost in a way of two guys that Texas Tech has what seems to be pretty significant interest in the portal in. We will start with Westmoreland II from UTEP and Edge. He's 6'2", 250, 1 year of eligibility remaining. That due to the JUCO ruling. Shout out to Diego Pavia over at Vanderbilt. Now, Westmoreland II was a two-time first-team Conference USA guy. I mean, he's a stud there for the Miners, right? We've talked about him in previous videos. It seems that the Red Raiders are pretty in terms of his recruitment process. He's gotten offers from the likes of Oklahoma State, and other major college football programs. But he's a two-time JUCO All-American, a two-time Conference USA first-team all-conference guy. He's a guy that could come in right away and be an impactful guy on the edge, and it's something that obviously Texas Tech is taking very, very seriously after adding a guy like Romello Height, who was ranked as a top 25 player, according to 247 Sports, in this portal class, in a top 5 edge rusher. You probably need to add maybe one, if not two more guys in that edge group, considering that some of those guys in the edge group that you like that were on the 2024 roster for Texas Tech are coming back from pretty significant injuries. So you want to have guys that are healthy going in there, allow those guys that have injuries to really not have to rush it and maybe re-injure the injury that they already had. And then that allows them to just kind of go into the mix and have more depth as well. So that's one guy to watch there. Now, the other one, he's going to be on campus at the time you're hearing this video. It is Friday, January 3rd, 2025. Happy New Year to all of you, that this is the first video y'all have seen here on the channel this year. His name is Jason Jenkins. He is the Tennessee defensive lineman. We caught wind because of an On3 report saying that, hey, Texas Tech was going to host him on January 5th. Now, he's also, got a lot of visits lined up. I think there's a 4-day stretch where he's just going boom, 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 boom to certain schools, right? Florida State's in the mix. Texas Tech is in the mix. But again, he will be on campus, at least scheduled to be on campus, on Sunday, January 5th. He is 6'6", 281, a Lawrenceville, New Jersey native. He has 2 years of eligibility remaining. His stats don't really show a lot because he was on one of the better defensive lines in all of college football this past season in Knoxville for the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, this per the Vols 247 site, this is a quote from their head coach, Josh Heupel. The Vols hailed Jenkins as a success story born out of hard work and perseverance, with head coach Josh Heupel, defensive line coach Rodney Garner, and teammates raving about his work ethic, But in the day and age of the transfer portal, it's increasingly more difficult to retain quality depth, right? So you have that. But if you look at Jenkins in terms of what Josh Heupel says about him, the head coach there, again, for the Vols, it's all positive, right? He's just looking for a bigger opportunity. Could that bigger opportunity be out in the 806? We shall find out. He will be on campus here in the next couple of days. All right, the two new guys that we need to discuss that we haven't yet here on the channel are two guys, as I mentioned in the open, that were on their respective conferences, first teams in 2024. Both are going to be via the JUCO route in the sense that they have an extra year of eligibility because of Diego Pavia in that ruling, right? So for those that don't know, JUCO players and their time in JUCO do not count towards their NCAA eligibility, since it is the National Junior College Athletic Association, right? So it's different. Okay, so they get an extra year of eligibility, or however many years of eligibility they had in terms of if they played 2 at JUCO. My understanding is they get 2 more at the NCAA level. But we're going to start in the state of Texas, and we're going to head down to the meeps, a.k.a. the Road Runners, And we've got Jamari Robinson, UTSA edge, 6'5", 250, Alexandria, Virginia native. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining, as I mentioned, due to the JUCO ruling. And in 2024, he went bonkers. I mean, just absolutely bonkers for Jeff Traylor's defense down there in the Alamo Dome. Okay, 43 total tackles, 27 solos, 17 tackles for loss, 17, 10.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 passes deflected, and 1 fumble recovery. He set the school record for most QB pressures in a season for the Roadrunners down there. He was selected as the 2024 American Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. And as I mentioned, he made the Americans first team all defense as well. In one game this year for UTSA against the Temple Owls, he had 5.5 tackles for loss, which tied the UTSA single game record. Oh, and he also had 4 sacks in that game, which tied a UTSA single game record in a 51-27 win over the Owls of Temple. He is a long, rangy edge that can beat you in multiple ways. He's not just one of those guys that's going to beat you with speed off the edge. He does have some physicality to him. He is a natural pass rusher that can stunt. He can spin. He can use power. He has speed as well. But really the biggest compliment I can give him from the film that I've seen is he is super disruptive. I mean, he is just a guy that is seemingly always around the football or always around the quarterback. Okay, he just makes impactful plays and makes life difficult for opposing offenses, most notably their quarterbacks. Again, 17 tackles for loss and 10.5 sacks. The Americans Defensive Player of the Year. He's 24 years old. He's a grown-ass man, okay? 6'5", 250, Alexandria, Virginia native. But he is a guy that I think would seamlessly fit into a Shield Woods defense and really make an impact on the edge by the side of guys like Lee Hunter, by the side of a guy like Anthony Holmes Jr. or Skylar Gill-Howard, or maybe someone else that Texas Tech adds in the portal, let alone the Duda Bankses of the world that are returning as well. This is a guy that is highly coveted in the portal and a name to monitor for the Red Raiders. All right, we move to the secondary, which maybe will surprise some people, but I think you have to think about this, and we don't know the severity of it yet, so I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't think it's fair to him, but Chapman Lewis was injured in the bowl game. And you think about that from the perspective of your secondary going into next season, okay? Chapman Lewis was probably the only for sure starter from the 2024 season going into the 2025 season in your secondary. Chapman Lewis was not an issue in the secondary for the Red Raiders in 2024. In fact, he was probably the brightest of bright spots, okay? Unfortunately, he got injured in the Liberty Bowl against Arkansas. We don't know the severity of that, but you have to wonder if targeting more players in the secondary is kind of leading you to the point where it's like, okay, is that a pretty serious injury? And again, I'm speculating here, which maybe isn't fair, but you have to wonder that. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because the guy that they're going after here, I think could move a guy or two that was maybe signed as a corner or a DB to the safety spot. And that is Michael Coates Jr. He is a Nevada corner. He's a lockdown corner, ladies and gentlemen, like legit lockdown guy. He's 5'10", 180 from Biloxia, Mississippi. I believe they have a minor league baseball team down there. Could be wrong. Anyway, I digress. 1 year of eligibility remaining due to the JUCO ruling. His story maybe is one of my favorites in all of college football. I had heard about his story before Texas Tech had kind of interest in him, but it's super interesting from the standpoint of he did not play organized high school football, okay? He played 7-on-7 with his friends, but he did not play organized high school football. In fact, he graduated high school, started working at an arcade, and realized, hey, I kind of want better for myself. I want to go to college. I want to potentially play football. He did not tell his family that he was going to tryouts at a JUCO there in Mississippi, okay? He got on the team and basically started right away as a walk-on at a JUCO, okay? It's funny. He found that JUCO tryout thing on Facebook in terms of the flyer. He found it on Facebook, and then he ended up starting for them. But anyway, in 2024 at Nevada, his second season in Reno, he had 41 tackles, 29 solo, 4 interceptions, and was second in the country with 17 passes defended. So obviously you subtract the 4, I should say, to that 17. That means he had 13 passes broken up / defended there. He was named to the All-Mountain West first team. 11 of his 13 pass breakups and 3 of his 4 interceptions came in the team's first 7 games. That means teams were like, oh, shit, we probably shouldn't throw at him anymore. And coach he's a lockdown corner in the Mountain West. Simple and plain. He was a stud. I know a lot of people get upset about Texas Tech going after, lower quality conference, talent. Go watch him against SMU. Dude balled out, okay? He balled out against a playoff team, okay? He is a star, in my opinion. He paced a secondary that ranked second in the Mountain West and 39th in the country in passing defense, allowing under 200 yards per game through the air. He may be a bit smaller, but if you watch his tape, bro is active. Okay, he always is around the football. Even when they weren't throwing to his side of the field in the second half of the season, he was always lowering his pads and getting involved in the run game. He is not afraid to be physical at all and just seemingly always around the football. He really is. And he's a good tackler too. Again, not the biggest guy in the world, 5'10", 180. Not huge, right? But he is a guy that is always seemingly in the right place, has good football instincts, a high football IQ, really active hands, and understands that, hey, I have lower leverage here. I'm going to use that and force wide receivers to the outside boundaries so I get a little bit more of an advantage in terms of 2 defenders, i.e. myself and the sideline. He's really good at that. And he's a guy, in my opinion, that could come in right away and start opposite of Bryce Pollock right away for the Red Raiders and form one of the better duos in the secondary at the cornerback spot in all of the Big 12. I also think if he were to become a Red Raider, again, strong if right now, that you could see a guy like Terrion Grant move from the cornerback position to the safety spot. And I think that might be better suited for Grant's skill set. Am I saying this is all going to happen? No, but it gets, the wheels churning a little bit, right? But he is a guy, Coach, I think would be a home run type addition to the Texas Tech secondary, a guy that's an absolute dog. He's physical, not afraid to get involved in anything. And oh, by the way, the numbers back up. He is an absolute bona fide star. So the 2 names to watch in terms of the 2 new names are Jamori Robinson, UTSA edge, and then Michael Coach Jr., Nevada DB. But also keep your eye on Jason Jenkins from Tennessee. He is set to visit on January 5th. That is this Sunday. And then also Mo Westmoreland II from UTEP in edge. So those are the guys that I'm watching most in the portal for the Red Raiders, who are seemingly not done and trying to add to that top 5 portal class that they currently have. All right. If you want to stay in the know, 100% free all year long on the largest independently owned Texas Tech YouTube channel. And oh, by the way, the most interactive Texas Tech YouTube channel. All you got to do is follow these 3 simple steps. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the Back to 12 squad today.